Q&A. I'm James Holland, editor of Electric Pig, and this is Ben Sillis, who's reviews editor on Electric Pig. Today we're going to talk about the N8 video and camcorder. Last time we spoke about the stills camera and photos on the N8. But before we get on to that, we're just going to run through how you guys can send us your questions and make sure that we get everything answered that you want to know. That's the most important thing, that's why we're here. So there's loads of ways you can get in touch with us. You can email us, editor@electricpig.co.uk. You can drop us a comment in the comments section below, and you can do that anonymously if you want to. There's live chat below this video window, right down there. You can just drop us a message in there. Ben will pick those up and we'll cover everything off.
If you can't see the chat window right now, just try refreshing the page again and it should be there.
Yeah, and if you want to Twitter us, then we're just @ElectricPig on Twitter. We'll pick those up as well. And if none of that interests you, why don't you hop onto facebook.com/ElectricPig, and you can drop us a note there, and Ben's going to pick those up as well. So anything you want to know, today we're going to focus on the camcorder and recording videos and some video playback with the N8. And we'll try and tick off as many questions as we can on those. We've got a few questions though that we've already had, so they're not strictly related to the camcorder, but we'll squeeze them in. They're from Vitianu on Twitter. Number one, 3 questions actually. It's like being a politician. Number one, kinetic scrolling, is it the same as on iPhone or like the N97? Well, the easiest way for me to answer that is probably just to show you. So let's just go into, I don't know, into photos. Should have lots of photos in there. There we go. So you can see. I'll hold the phone nice and close. There's the photo library, and there you go. There I'm scrolling. So you can see if I do it gently, it moves a tiny bit. It's very responsive. It's as responsive as the iPhone, I'd say, and I'm normally an iPhone 4 user, so works in landscape as well as portrait. There you go. It's got that nice spring back effect. So I'd say it's similar to the iPhone. Question 2. The social communities are integrated into the OS, or can they be uninstalled? It's a good question. There's a Nokia have built in, you can see it there on the very front of the N8, there's a little widget there for pulling in information from Twitter and Facebook. Nokia have built in a thing called Nokia Social into the N8. It is built into the OS. It's pre-installed. It's a single app. I'll show it you. It's just in the applications and just there. There's Social. So fire it up. You see that Nokia OV branding. If you can see that. And then I don't think I've set this one up. No, I haven't set this one up. It's going to ask you for your login details for Facebook and Twitter. Anyway, tap those in, and you'll be able to see all your social networking in one app. You can take your friends from social networking and add their details to your address book. So you'll then get the option to send them a Twitter message or a Facebook message as well as phoning them or texting them. But if you don't want them, like you say, can they be uninstalled? As far as I'm aware, they can't be uninstalled. But you can just not put your Facebook and Twitter details into the Nokia Social app, and then it won't do anything. You know, it'll just sit there quietly. And of course, you can use third-party apps if that's what you want instead. The applications that this is question number 3 now. The applications that are pre-installed on the N8, are they fast like on iPhone, or are they slow? To be honest, they're pretty quick. You know, I've been playing with the N8 for well over a fortnight now, and everything's pretty zippy. So maps, there you go, dive into maps, and there you go, it's in. Reloaded, search, and it wants network connection, and we're away. There you go. So I'd say that's as quick as an iPhone. I'd say it's probably as quick as an iPhone in terms of just diving into the pre-installed apps. Third-party apps, obviously, your mileage will vary, but yeah, from a standing start, it's pretty nippy. So you can drop us your questions through Twitter. That's just Electric Pig on Twitter, or through Facebook, facebook.com/electricpig. You can email them, editor@electricpig.co.uk. You can drop them in the comments section or the live chat below. So if you've got any questions, then ping them in. Have we had any questions yet, Ben?
We've got a couple here. Somebody wants to know, Baz on Twitter wants to know about the sound recording,
Yeah.
what the audio quality as well as video quality is like.
Well, we'll come on to audio quality as part of the video. So, in fact, I'll crack on now with, it's a good lead in to a quick chat about the hardware. The last Q&A we talked about the camera. It's a 12 megapixel camera. Obviously, those 12 megapixels really relate to stills. So it's got a huge, great sensor behind here. It's actually bigger than a lot of dedicated compact cameras, and it's got a mechanical shutter. Going to the video app, however, I'll just fire that up, and a lot of that stuff kind of disappears because the mechanical shutter doesn't make a difference when you're recording video because it's for snapping still shots. So that's disabled. And if you think about the resolution of 12 megapixels, absolutely massive. It's much bigger than even HD video. So all of those pixels don't need to be used. That's not to say that the N8 doesn't use all of the sensor, because Nokia have built in quite a clever system. It's called pixel binning, and what it does is it combines clumps of pixels into one pixel. So you've got a huge 12 megapixel sensor, and it's producing something that's more like 1.5 megapixels. But what that means is that it can cancel out a lot of the noise. It's got so much data to begin with that it knows what's noise and what's real, and that means that when it crunches it down, you get really slick, detailed clips. I'll show you a couple of clips in just a second. And you asked about the microphone. There's actually two microphones on the N8. There's one there, if you can see that. That tiny little gap there. And there's another one just underneath the camera, just in there. And when the N8 records video, it actually records in stereo, which sounds a bit daft, to be honest, because if you're pointing the camera like that, the speakers are on, the microphones are on the front and the back. So it's stereo recording, but with a bit of a twist. So if you're videoing a scene, you can give a commentary, and you'll get the sound from the scene and the sound of your voice, both as clear as possible. So that's why Nokia have used two. I said that a couple of features don't get used when you're recording video. The N8 has a xenon flash, which is just there. It's the same sort of flash that you'll see on compact cameras and SLRs. Very bright, very fast. It's not great for video because it's good for bursts of light, not sustained light. You'll see some camera phones have an LED flash that's just left on for recording video. The N8 doesn't have that. There is an LED just there. I'm not sure if you can see it. Just to the side, just to the left as you're looking at it, at the xenon flash. That's some people have said, oh, that can be used for video recording. It can't. It's an amber coloured LED, and it's used in still photography. It's used as a rangefinder for the autofocus, and it's also used in video. It does light up, but it's used as almost like a privacy feature, so that people can tell that you're recording video. It's not going to light up anything, to be honest. So you might think that the N8's not great at low light photography. I'll be honest with you, if you're shooting in pitch black, it's not the best because you haven't got a light. But on the other hand, what the N8 can do is it can crank down its shutter speed, or its frames per second, and it can generate it can drop from 30 to 15 or 5, and that means more light gets in. So if you're shooting low light without much movement, it still looks all right, to be honest. To give you a sense perspective, we're broadcasting now. My Mac's telling me between 15 and 20 frames a second, so you're still going to get smooth pictures even at 15 frames a second. They're not that bad for mobile phone video. So that's the broad brushstrokes of the video hardware. Any more questions, Ben, that we can tick off?
Yeah, I've got a couple more in the chat just now. Simon wants to know which side is actually strongest on the Nokia N8. Is the glass or the aluminium?
It's a good question because glass phones inherently make everyone nervous. It's a really solid phone. It's a new way. I think we spoke about this last time. This is a new way of making phones for Nokia. They've never made one with this kind of completely surrounded aluminium shell. I don't know if you can see there, but it's actually kind of bolted together, whereas a lot of old Nokias weren't. They were kind of clipped, and they were kind of seamless and plasticky. It's incredibly solid. I don't know if you can hear that. it barely creaks at all, and I'm twisting. So it's pretty solid. The glass as well feels really tough. I've been using it for a fortnight, and I'm clumsy as hell, and I haven't yet managed to break it. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of time, but I've done my best, and I've yet to scratch it. And it looks kind of brand new. Any other questions, Ben?
Yeah, a couple more. I'm afraid the name of this one eludes me. There's a lot of symbols here. I can't quite pronounce it, but somebody on the chat has asked, do you think the around 600 megahertz processor is enough for the N8, or should it have been the full 1 gig?
Should it have been a 1 gigahertz? The spec fiend inside me wants to say that, obviously you want a 1 gigahertz processor. The fact is, it doesn't matter. But in everyday life, you're not going to spend your time wondering how many megahertz are under the hood of this thing. What matters, and this is something that we say when we review any mobile phone, whether it's a BlackBerry or a Nokia or an iPhone, it's that experience that you're looking for, and you shouldn't care what's under there. What you should care about is how it feels and how you get on with it. And I think I said a lot of this last time about this is all new Symbian software, Symbian 3. Which is brand new. It's a complete rewrite, and it feels very, very zippy. I mean, as I said a couple of minutes ago about how the apps load very quickly, I can't tell much of a difference performance-wise between this and an iPhone in terms of how quickly it loads these. I mean, bear in mind again, these are 12 megapixel still pictures, and it whizzes through them. There's a few nice graphical bells and whistles to the menu. It's very different to Nokia's of a few years ago. So should it have a 1 gigahertz processor? Well, you can never have too much processing power, can you? But at the same time, it's got what it has. It's got a 600 or whatever's inside there, and it's very good with it. So I'd say try and look past the raw numbers and into the experience that it gives you. Any more?
Yeah, there's a couple more. We have a couple of people asking for the launch date. Now, as far as I'm aware, last month the plan was for the first pre-orders to get theirs by the end of this month. Nokia pushed that back just a few days. So if you pre-ordered the Nokia N8, it should be coming to you in the next week or two, as far as I'm aware. But as for high street sellers, I don't know the exact dates, but I think we're looking at mid-October for that.
That sounds about right to me. That kind of chimes with everything I've heard. So yeah, mid-October. Absolute latest, you should be able to get hold of your own N8. And if you wanted a green one, this is exclusive to Vodafone, this colour, which I think I said last week is when I first got it, I really wasn't very taken with it, but now it's actually grown on me a lot, and it looks very different to everyone else's. So yeah.
Jason in the chat also has asked the USB, the function where you plug a USB device into the N8 rather than the N8 acting as one. What kind of support does it offer? Will it power portable hard drives, or is it just memory stick support?
I haven't played with it too much. I have tried it out. You can stick external memory into the N8, and it acts like a PC. You stick a memory card into your PC. What happens? The PC loads it up like a disk. The N8 does exactly the same. So in the past, you've had to plug your phone into your PC. Now you can plug stuff into your phone and use it as a computer in its own right. As far as I know, I've only tried it with low capacity memory sticks. I haven't got one kicking around, but it won't power a hard drive as far as I've found. I've only tried it with small memory sticks. I wouldn't get your hopes up, and to be honest, it's got 16 gig inside it anyway, and a micro SD card that you can put 32 in, so that puts you up to 40 gig. If you really, really struggle for space, then personally I think it's a brilliant little addition, but I also think it's one that few people will end up using, and it's more of a kind of novelty at the moment.
Salman has also asked, which colour do you think honestly looks the best? He's looking forward to silver, white.
I think to be honest, because it's so odd, I think that's why the green has grown on me. I've never seen a phone this colour, and I think you'd be hard pushed to find one that looks as. It's a dividing one, isn't it? Personally, I really like this. I don't think I'd choose any other colour of N8 having had this now. So yeah, I'd go with the green.
Yeah, I think that the questions that we've got here at the moment. The others are sort of related to the camcorder. So
okay, cool. Well, that's a good shout. We'll move on. I saw over your shoulder you've got one about video formats, and we cover that off in Camcorder software. So, excuse me, we've talked about video hardware, we talked about how it shoots and why it's so good at shooting. I'll just talk about software. The N8 is quite peculiar in its camera software in that it's really simple. I'll show you the viewfinder just there. It's really simple and straightforward. There's next to nothing on that screen, but at the same time, it's actually quite powerful. So I'm going to compare this like for like with the iPhone camcorder. So the iPhone camcorder gives you I'll fire it up. Gives you buttons to start and stop recording. Yep, the N8's got that. What else does it give you? Not a fat lot, to be honest. The N8, I'm just going to call this up so you can see them side by side. The N8 kind of has a similar size screen, but it's a lot less cluttered. It's telling me my phone's full, which is unsurprising. You can see that. So around the edge of the N8 you've got a selector here to go between video and camera mode. And one interesting thing to note is it will always start up in still camera mode. And the reason for that is Nokia have done some research and say that 90% of people use their mobile phones for taking still shots. They use them for still photography and quick snaps. Videos is secondary. 1 in 10 uses their video most of the time. So they've made it so that even if you were in video mode, the last time you used your camera, whenever you fire it up, it will be in stills. One tap and you're into video camera. Video always records in widescreen, whereas camera, if I go to that, records in more traditional camera dimensions. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of ends at the side there. It's closer to 4:3. It's not quite. Whereas video is true 16:9, which means it looks great on your TV. And again, one of the things that you might not expect is you can pause while recording a clip. So what that means is if I was recording a kid's birthday party, you could film all the outdoors clips, and you can literally hit pause as you go along. So I'll start recording Ben. You can see that. You can see it tells me I'm recording there. It gives me digital zoom control. So I can zoom in, zoom out. It's pretty smooth. And there's a stop option there, and there's a pause option. If I hit pause, it does exactly what you'd expect. It pauses the video, it gives me a continue option. Now I can move around and start filming the screen. If I hit continue, do a bit of filming, and then hit stop, what that creates is a kind of jump cut in between. So you can create a rough edit on the go. So I'll hold that up. So you can see there I'm zooming in, I'm zooming out. And I'm still talking and I'm still showing Ben. But you'll see any second. Brilliant. It's lucky that I prepared one earlier. It's a lot clearer than me waving it around. Let me just find it. But it basically means that if you're out and about recording events, you can do you can create rough cuts on the go. So here's one of my dog. There we go. And you'll see this cuts between several angles. So there I'm shooting from above, and in a second it will jump to shooting from below. There we go. And that was all done while recording, so I haven't edited that clip at all. All I've done is edit in sequence and pause as I go along. That's really rare for a phone camera, and it's more like what you get on a camcorder when you can hit pause or hit the record button to pause recording and then carry on. It's really quite useful when you're shooting things that are already in sequence, and I think it's really smart. It's something that I found myself using over and over and over again. What else is on that camera screen? Let me show you. There's options for There's options for modes. You've got automatic, low light, and night. As I said earlier, low light and night will actually lower the frame rate, letting a bit more light come in, and it will give you more of a colourful picture. You might get more grain because the camera has to compensate somehow, but it's not that bad considering there's no flash, there's no LED light. The other things that are on that screen are there's a small spanner there for tools. That gives you white balance, which is pretty cool. You know, you can go in and choose sunny, cloudy, incandescent, fluorescent, or automatic. I've generally been leaving it on automatic. It seems to do a very good job. There's also colour tone, so I can choose vivid or black and white. You can see there, or sepia. Make myself look vintage. So you get a few more things to play with than a normal camera, and then you've got a shortcut just there. That last one is for photos, to dive into the photo library. The last thing I'll show you is if I go into options, I can use a secondary camera to record video from the front instead of from the back. I'll go back to using the main camera, and under options and settings, here's where I can fiddle with video quality. So this is at the moment excuse me, this is at the moment recording in HD, and it's recording the best quality it possibly can, which is 720p. Just for those who wanted to know, it records 1280 by 720 HD, 25 frames a second, and it encodes with H.264 up to 12 megabits a second. So it's proper HD. In other words, it's good quality. Sound at HD is 128 kilobits per second, and it uses the AAC codec, and it's at 48 kilohertz. You can use this slider to scale things down. So there I've gone for TV quality, which is a bit misleading given that everyone has, well, if you haven't, I'm not sure why you're on Electric Pig, a HD TV. So actually, if you want to look at it on your TV, best to whack it up to high definition. You can scale it all the way down to 3GP, which is optimized for MMS messages. In those TV quality, which is actually VGA, in that and the 3GP or MMS setting, you will get lower frame rates anyway. Even if you're filming in good light, it will knock it down to 15 frames a second for VGA or 5 frames a second for 3GP. So it will crank it down just to make the most out of the size of video that you've got, without giving you massive files. The other things I can do there, I can toggle save location, so it uses GPS inside to geotag. I can use I can switch video stabilization on or off, and that works by, in the Nokia N8, some cameras or some camera phones crop in on a picture, so it's quite hard to describe, but you might have a picture that's that big, and actually what you're seeing with image stabilization is a few pixels less than that, and it uses that border to kind of counterbalance your wobbling. The N8 doesn't quite operate in the same way. It compares frame by frame, so it actually looks at the motion of your video as it's being recorded, compares the frames, and tries to then adjust for wobble. So it's a different way of doing it. It's exactly the same effect at the end of the day. I can switch audio recording on or off, so we can make a silent movie, and that's it. I can restore the camera settings if I've fiddled around too much. I can change the default name. But that's broadly the N8's camcorder settings. Now, just to remind you, I'm James Holland, editor of electricpig.co.uk. This is Ben Sillis, who's reviews editor of Electric Pig. He's looking after comments and questions. If you want to ask us a question, anything about the N8 camcorder today, just drop us a line. We're on at Electric Pig on Twitter. You can drop us a note in the comments section or the live chat below. If you use the comments, I believe you can do that anonymously. If you don't fancy any of that, log on to Facebook. We're just on facebook.com/electricpig. Drop us a comment there, like the page while you're there, and we'll get that and I'll field those questions. And if you really don't fancy any of that, you can email us editor@electricpig.co.uk. Any questions, Ben?
Yeah, got a couple of camcorder ones now. VG Republic on the chat says, I hear a lot about the HD 720p video recording, but can you record lower resolution?
You can, yeah. So just as I just went through, you can crank it down to or from 720p HD to VGA, which is Nokia calls it TV quality. It's not. It's around DVD quality. And below that, you can knock it down to what Nokia calls 3GP. It's MMS video. It's the lowest of the low. You're not going to want to commit any long-term memories to it, to be honest. Any more?
Yeah, lots more here. I'll just follow up because VG asked this one also. He wanted to know whether sepia, black and white, monochrome recording.
Yep, you can do that. It's really simple. Just on the viewfinder, I just showed you. You can get you can tap into the effects and you can add sepia, black and white, or there's a vivid one as well, which I'll just show you, just for the sake of completeness. There you go. It's that A there because we're on automatic, so no, it's not that. It's under Tools and Colour Tone. And there you go. There's a vivid, in which Ben does indeed look vivid. There you go. Lovely stuff. Any more?
Yeah, we've got a couple more. I'll keep it to the sort of camcorder related questions first, and we'll go to the others at the end. Base Gear Guy is just asking in the chat, is it possible to use an external microphone when recording a video? Not
that I know of, no. I mean, it's. I'll be honest with you, it's not something that I've tried. I know that a while back, the N95 had to be basically hacked to use an external mic. And as far as I'm aware, it's not something that Nokia have officially supported ever, really. I haven't been able to check, but it might let you use the headset mic at the top, because that is a headset connector. But to be honest, it's not going to give you any better quality than the stereo mics front and back, which have been really good in all the time that I've been fiddling around with it. So as far as I know, no, but the built-in quality is pretty good anyway.
I suppose for me, the thing that I want to use an external mic for is telephone calls, interviews and so forth like that, where you'd have a sort of 3D mic plugged into your ear. Do you know if you can record phone calls?
There are apps, there are Symbian apps that let you do that, so I don't see why not. You know, that's the great thing about having an open platform where you can have more or less any app running on it, is that you can explore the art's content and stick that stuff on. I know there used to be apps for recording calls on Symbian, so yeah, as far as I know, you can.
Jason's also asked in chat, can you confirm if the Nokia N8 will have DivX support?
Can I confirm? Yes, it does, apparently. Someone asked this last week, and we were sent a link to a list of all the formats. We'll share that. We'll update the post and share that link. I'll dig it out towards the end, and we'll post it. But yeah, should do.
Salman asks, will the Nokia N8 become slow and unresponsive after inserting a 32 gigabyte rather micro SD card, as the Nokia N97 was?
No, I've been using this one with. I've got a couple of micro SD cards, and I've been swapping them in and out. One of them's a 32 gig, one of them's just a 2 gig that I got with a different phone, and in my experience it's been absolutely fine with both. It just seems to gobble them up. I haven't experienced it slowing down at all. Yeah, I've actually struggled to crash this. I think I said last week someone asked, has it locked up, has it crashed? And I've only got it to fail once, which, considering it's not out yet, so there's every possibility that Nokia is still working on software tweaks. Pretty good in my book. Any more for anyone?
Yeah, a couple more camcorder ones here. Jude over email has asked, is it possible to upload to YouTube your HD videos?
You can.
Over 3G?
You can. Well, I've done it. I'll show you. It includes YouTube on the home screen, but it's not a YouTube app. It's just there. You see, it's actually a shortcut to the YouTube mobile site, which in many ways seems like a bit of a cop-out, but it's actually the best thing that Nokia could have done. It's a bit fiddly to use, I'll admit, but it actually comes with quite a few benefits. You can save your clips. I'm just going to try and come back to the video. You can save your clips onto external memory, built-in memory, and then what happens is you go through the YouTube mobile site. It asks you to specify a video to upload. you tap the browse just as you would on a PC or a Mac or a desktop. You click browse and you browse the file structure just like you would on a PC. That's completely different to the way Android or iPhone handle things. This treats you more like a user, a proper computer user. You can browse through any file you like and just say, there's the file that I want to upload, send it. And Bob's your uncle, off it goes. Now the great thing about it being set up like that is there's no restrictions like the ones you get in apps where it will know that you're using Wi-Fi or 3G. It's just a website. To YouTube, it's completely transparent. The YouTube mobile website doesn't care whether you're using 3G or Wi-Fi or whatever. So you can send whatever you like as long as it meets YouTube's file size requirements. Then you're golden. It's just going to gobble it up. I wouldn't recommend doing it over 3G. I sent a HD video that was about a minute long, and it crawled because it was over 100 meg, and it took a while. So I stopped and sent it over Wi-Fi, and it went up in about a minute. So, or a couple of minutes. It didn't take very long at all. But again, that's the same deal. It's the same with any smartphone, and you can. But the choice of being able to use whatever you like to get the job done is brilliant, I think.
Richard has sent us a DM over Twitter and has asked to tell us more about the HDMI connection on the phone.
Okay.
Can you just use it just for playing back the video you recorded and the photos, or can you use it to share the screen?
Okay, it's a good question. We haven't actually come on to HDMI yet, but it's a good lead-in. If you've got any more questions, by the way, just ping us a note through Twitter @electricpig, or through facebook.com/electricpig, or editor@electricpig.co.uk, or there's the chat window below, and there's the comment section below that. I'm just going to get a sharp object and prise open the HDMI socket because I have no fingernails. There we go. Okay, so yeah, Richard just mentioned there's a HDMI output on the N8. Just showed you there. It lives at the top of the phone, right next to the headphone socket. And I've removed the cover so you can see it. It's a micro HDMI. There's an adapter in the box, so you don't have to worry about it being another cable that you haven't got the right connector for. And what it does is it does exactly what you'd expect. You plug in the HDMI, you plug in to your TV, and your phone screen appears on the TV. So whatever video you play on here appears on the TV. If you've shot a video with the camcorder, then that will show on the TV. If you've bought a video or downloaded a video and put it onto a memory stick or Bluetoothed it across or stuck it on USB and stuck that in the side, that will play too.